Hi there, this is David from Rent to Grow Homes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the numbers for a new deal that we have in Kitchener. I met Nadia and Mark earlier this week. I went to their house in Kitchener that they're renting right now. I think they're actually very good candidates for our Rent to Grow Homes program, for our Rent to Own program. Why I like them? They're both working. So number one, Nadia is a registered nurse. Mark is a car guy and he works at Toyota Production. Their combined income right now is about 130. She's getting a certification, which is probably going to boost their combined income within 2 to 3 years up to like 150 or 160. They are not trying to spend the most money possible. They're very conscientious. They've got good credit, and they're just good people. And for those reasons, I'm happy to back them and put them forth as great tenant buyers for a rent-to-own investor. So let's get into this deal. On the right here, you can see the summary of the deal. So the purchase price that we're likely going to go with is $450. It might be lower, it might be higher, and then we adjust the numbers accordingly. But this gives you a sense of how the numbers will play out at $450. So the future price is based on 3 years, so that's $520. So we assume a term length of 3 years and 5% appreciation. The investor would be in for $91,000, and I'm going to show you how that number comes about. Monthly cash flow to the investor is $550, which is a 7.2% cash on cash return. We are going to structure the deal so the investor gets 20% annual return, which is a total of 60% over the course of 3 years. What that means is if you're in for $91,000 at the very beginning, that's all in. At the end of 3 years, you get your $91,000 back plus a profit of 60%, which is $54,825. And with respect to the total profit available in the deal, the investor is getting a cool 71%. So it is a nice passive deal for an investor willing to own a property in Kitchener for 3 years. Now let me walk you through the numbers in a little more detail. So I'm going to slide myself over here. And this spreadsheet kind of shows sort of the breakdown of these numbers. So as I mentioned, 450 is our starting point. We do 5% annual appreciation based on kind of history. 3 years is the term. So if we do the math, it's 520, 931. This is the price that everyone is agreeing upon that will be the sale price in 3 years. So the investor is going to get a normal mortgage of 20% down, so 80% is going to be the mortgage. In this model, I assume a fixed rate of 5% for 3 years. If the rate is lower, that actually allows me to return a higher return to the investor. So ideally, we can get a lower rate for fixed rate of 3 years, but I'm modeling at 5%. Of course, there's legal of $2,500. There's the appraisal. Of course, land transfer tax we cannot get away from, so that's $54.75 for this $450 figure. I do charge an upfront fee of $3,000, and then the tenant buyer is in for $10,000. And this is skin in the game, right? So they are putting some money up front, and why I call this skin in the game, they're at risk of losing this money if they don't make their payments or don't take care of the house. So if we do the math, add all the stuff up, the investor is in for $91,375. And that 20% return is calculated based on this number. All right, now let's look to see what happens every month. So each month, the tenant buyer is going to pay rent of approximately $2,550 and an additional amount of $650. So this rent is really going to cover our core expenses of mortgage, insurance, and property tax. This option credit is how they save for a bigger down payment. Every month they pay $650, and at the end of 3 years, they've got a lot more money saved than they did at the beginning of the program. But each month, $3,200 is coming in if we add these two numbers, and going out is $2,433, which leaves us with $767. So I'm going to distribute $550 to the investor every month. What this means is you get an e-transfer every month on the 6th of the month of $550. So this is pure cash flow because the expenses are covered here. I take a property management fee of $150, and we leave a little money in the bank account just for a buffer. So let's fast forward to closing. This is a 3-year deal, so this actually should be 2028. So 520, 931, we return their deposit. we return all those credits. So they paid us $650 times 36 months. We give that back to them. These two added up is $33,400. That's how much now they have saved for their future down payment. Of course, there's mortgage discharge, there's another legal cost. We give you back the investor their money. And so the proceeds from the deal at the sale is $50,419. Now, how did we make money on this deal? Let's look at the profit. Well, there was appreciation of $70,000, right? We went from $450 to $520. There's just mortgage pay down over the 3 years. They paid our mortgage and we gained $16,000 from that. There was a little bit of rental cash flow. So if I add those three up, we have $91,000 in profit. Now we remove our hard costs of the two legals. So the legal in the beginning, the legal at the end, the land transfer tax, and this came in as a referral. So I removed that as well. And so that means the total profit pie is $76,946. Now, as the investor, you were in for $91,000. I'm promising you 20% annual return, which is 60% over 3 years. So I owe you $54,825 in profit. Now, you've already received $19,800 because you got $550 in cash flow every month for 36 months. If I subtract this 54 number by 19, I'm left with this number, $35,025. That is what you receive at the end. Once we sell the place, that is yours, and that makes you whole at the 60% profit mark. In terms of how I made money, I collected $3,000 up front. There was $150 a month in property management and tenant management fees, and then I get what's left over. So in my case, it's $13,000 here. And of course, as the property person or as the operator, the most of my profit comes at the end. So we are all invested in a successful conclusion because all three of us get our biggest outcome or our best outcome at the very end, right? As an investor, you make your most chunk at the end. I make my most chunk at the end, and the tenant buyer gets the house, right? So we're all invested in making sure this succeeds properly. So just a quick summary here. The total profit in the deal was $76,947. You received, as an investor, $54,000. I received 22, which means you're getting a 71% split. So if this is a deal that's interesting to you, and maybe it's not this one, maybe it's a future deal in the next 2, 3, 6 months, or even end of the year, just drop me an email, reply to me, let me know. We can have a quick chat. I can go through more details and also kind of send you deals that might be more up your alley. Hope you enjoy this video, and please reach out if this is interesting to you. Thank you.